Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to talk about what I hope to see in the new Shadow Raid. So this raid does look pretty cool. We've seen one screenshot and sneak peeks of it. Also in this video, I would love for you guys to comment down below what you guys want to see in this raid, what you hope there is and what you hope there isn't. So from what we know currently is it is level 1301 in game, but of course it's going to be switched to level 1300 once the raid actually comes out. It's level 1301 just so players can't get into it right now. Anyways, we also see two things for the drops. We know that there is a chest dropped on normal and hardcore. So he has talked about this idea a little bit on the tester Discord server. I don't want to say too much because you know it's not finalized yet. But one of the ideas was for it to drop chests, and these chests drop the loot from the raid. So essentially you farm the chests, and then after when you get the chests you open them up, kind of like how there was those limited events where you would buy, like I forgot what it was. I'm pretty sure one of the Halloween events had the trick-or-treat bags which you opened up, which would have a chance at getting you any of the limited items from that Halloween event. Sort of something like that to make it a little bit different from the current existing raids. I do think this idea is pretty fun, and I really don't have anything against it as long as everything will be tradable, of course. And then I do think there should be a difference between a hardcore chest and a normal chest. If they're both the same, then what's really the point in doing hardcore? And then also, I don't know how finalized this idea is. It's just something I've seen thrown around there a little bit. This raid may possibly be a 4-person only cap. The reason for this is to make it still a challenge. However, if you have really good gear, it won't be challenging with only 4 of your friends. The point of this is to make it hard while still not as hard as EOT. If it's only 4 people, then you can't make it as easy as EOT, if that makes sense, because if you had 12 people in an easier version of EOT, like an easier raid, then it would just fly by. But if you only have 4 people, then it could still be a challenge. I do think this is an interesting concept. I don't know if I love it or disagree with it. I really don't have much of an opinion on it until we play the raid. It may be great, it may suck, I don't really know yet. Also, take everything I'm talking about with a grain of salt, because nothing is finalized, of course. These are just speculations of stuff that I've seen thrown around. So now I want to talk more on the personal note. What do I want to see from this raid? So personally, I really hope from this raid the gear is useful. Now, I wouldn't make sense for all the gear from the Shadow Place to be more powerful than the gear from EOT, due to EOT still being the hardest raid in the game. I don't want the gear to be useless though, because if the gear isn't like at least as good or somewhat interchangeable with EOT gear, then what's the point in farming it? So one idea I had was for this raid to drop a very powerful armor set and also a very powerful aura. The reason for this is because EOT currently doesn't really drop any very powerful armor. There is the Cape of Pressure, which is pretty strong, but this raid could drop the best armor, even better than Cape of Pressures. And then it could also drop powerful stat auras. What this would do is make it to where there is 2 endgame raids to farm for gear. Your best ring, necklace, and weapon comes from EOT, then your best armor and then aura would come from the Shadow one. I think this is a really fun idea, because this would then make players bounce in between the raids when they're farming with their friends, and make it to where you don't have to do only one raid over and over again to get stuff, and I think it would be really fun. Another idea I think that would be great, it's kind of bouncing off of one of my older videos, my crafting ideas video, is if there is new crafting materials or other stuff dropped from this raid that you can use to craft with EOT gear. Imagine if gear drops, like let's say there is good necklaces and rings from this raid. Let's say those necklaces and rings plus necklaces and rings from EOT could be fused together as some form of ultimate endgame crafting gear. I think that could also be a really fun idea, because then there would be a point in farming this new raid, there'd be a point in farming both raids, and there'd be a point of farming both raids continuously and back and forth. This would be a really fun concept. It would give players a lot more things to do, and I think it would be really cool. And honestly, I'm just looking forward to this new raid, something new to do, something new to farm. I'm a big fan of the idea of auras with stats being dropped, and I think I'm a even bigger fan of the idea of having the raid drop craftable stuff, like stuff you can use for this ultimate end gear crafting things, because again, that would let players continuously come back to the game. Now, I really hope, when in terms of bosses, I hope there's at least 2 bosses. I've always liked the raids that has more than one boss, But if there's going to be more than one boss, I think all the bosses need to drop gear. I think the first boss, if they do this, should drop more of like the rune bags, like tier 3 rune bags, and then a little bit of the weaker gear. And then the second boss drops the best gear. Reason being is because if you're farming for gear to get to do it on hardcore, then you could just do just the first boss, and then when you get the good gear from the first boss, you can then go all the way to the second boss and do it on hardcore and stuff like that. This would make it a little bit more fun. One thing I didn't like about EOT is that only the Emperor of Time himself actually dropped gear. I thought it was kind of weird to have the Guardian of Light drop nothing. It almost made him seem like a glorified mob than a boss really, and I thought that was kind of weird. So honestly, as long as this raid has one boss, I'll still be happy. Something like the Hive raid could still be fun, where the first room is full of mobs and the second room will be a boss fight. That would also be a fun raid, but I just hope it doesn't end up being somewhat like a Hive clone. So overall, armor and aura being powerful would be great. Crafting gear would be great, multiple bosses would be great, and I really hope this raid does drop rune bags so we don't need to do only rogue hideout. Tier 3 rune bags are always appreciated to get. And it would be nice if this raid dropped raid coins, because the Emperor of Time raid doesn't drop raid coins, and it's the most farmed raid, and it doesn't really make sense that it doesn't drop raid coins. Anyways guys, this video isn't going to be too long. I just wanted to talk about a couple of ideas I had and what I hope to see with the new Shadow raid that will be coming out eventually. Comment down below what you guys want to see. I'm super excited for this, and I cannot wait for it to finally come out. Anyways, if you guys liked this video, please leave a like, subscribe for more, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye!